With his orbital fracture were Kyle Van Noy's critical comments of the Chiefs training staff justified? This is Dr. David Chow, Sports Injury Central, SICScore.com. 17 years as a head team physician in the NFL. Let's pull back the curtain how the process works and if Kyle Van Noy's comments are justified. In some ways, yes, because he was hurt, but the reality is they were very off base, and I'll tell you why. The Chiefs medical staff isn't even primarily responsible for the visiting team. Their own staff, and there is a specifically assigned visiting team medical liaison that is an emergency room physician that is supposed to get urgent care for the visiting team players. Kyle's comments, fair because he was injured. We talked about how it's a very unusual injury to have an orbital fracture with helmets, which are usually protected. He said, I was disappointed in the way the training staff of the Chiefs handled the situation. He's emotional. He's right. I don't take that away from him. I get he can be disappointed. When things like that hurt, you get hurt, especially something that could be serious like mine. You're supposed to rely on the team's training staff or their doctors. And I was supposed to see an ophthalmologist who's someone who checks out eye performance, eye surgery. And they took an entire quarter to get down to me in the locker room, which to me is unacceptable. But then you start thinking, what if I was trying to get back in the game? Let's break that down. Disappointed? Get it. When you hurt, something could be serious. Yes, you should get a medical immediate care. But an ophthalmologist is not in the emergency room. An ophthalmologist is never on staff at an emergency room. It's the emergency physician that's there. And there was one there specifically assigned to the Ravens and Kyle Van Noy. Anything that was urgent, emergent, or required immediate care was up to the emergency physician who presumably was there and took care of him. I get each team and the home team will have an ophthalmologist at the game on call. They're usually not paid. They usually get a pair of free tickets and they're available to the home team and the visiting team. The home team ophthalmologist, regular guy, is usually the guy that's there. I get you rely on them for secondary opinion care, but you rely on the visiting team medical liaison for anything urgent, emergent, immediately related to the eye. I get it would be reassuring to talk to the ophthalmologist, and I get taking a whole quarter, if that's what happened, is probably not ideal. But in terms of getting back into the game, if you need to see the ophthalmologist and your team physician cannot clear you, and the emergency physician, the visiting team medical liaison isn't enough, you're not returning to the game. That's just what it is. So that had nothing to do with it. I don't see it as gamesmanship from the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, I take no sides on this. I'm just trying to explain what it is. I understand Kyle Van Noy's frustration. And to me, it's a little bit of a pot shot to say the Chiefs training staff got an F on that Players Association rating. Why did they get an F? You can discuss that. But in the end, urgent eye care is the responsibility of the visiting team medical liaison. If there was anything urgent or emergent, that emergency room physician with access to the local trauma center is responsible for the care and direct referral. It is a courtesy to have the home team ophthalmologist check him. I get it, waiting a quarter is not ideal, but it unlikely was an urgent situation. Let's hope for the best here. I get the frustrations of Kyle Van Noy. He wanted to stay in the game, but no harm was done. And just explaining the process of responsibility of how it happens. Hopefully he can return quickly. Hopefully no surgery, no eye issues in terms of vision. If so, he can be protected with helmets and shields and return to the Ravens pretty quickly. This is Dr. David Chow, Sports Injury Central, where we give you injury analysis from insider knowledge, but not injury reporting or insider information. And that's how we take publicly available information and interpret the right and wrong sides of what happens here. In this case, I think Kyle Van Noy is frustrated, but a little bit off base. And the Chiefs and their staff didn't do anything wrong. It would be more ideal to get the ophthalmologist there more quickly. I would agree. This is Dr. David Chow, Sports Injury Central, SICScore.com.